it had to be intentional. We design with intention. We look at things from a mindful standpoint. Hi, I'm Jude. I'm the owner and founder at Sansa Interiors, which is an interior design firm specializing in holistic interiors, specifically hospitality and commercial interior design. We started Sansa Interiors 6 years ago with a mission to bring in a bit more fun and color and excitement into interiors and really allow people to experience a space in a different way. So the funniest thing happened to me. I was practicing Taekwondo, like my normal practices where I teach and train, and I met the most amazing, fun lady there. And I talked to her, we ended up exchanging information, and she mentioned to me that she has a business and she's willing to expand it and wanting to grow it. And it's a coffee shop mixed with a floral cafe. So I thought it was a really interesting and cool, fun way, and I had to be part of it because who doesn't love coffee and flowers? I personally love flowers so much and have to have them fresh in my house all the time. We started off by designing their first location in Square One Mall, and it had like so many things that had to be involved. So we ended up proposing that we do the counter right in the middle of the space so that it's like this highlight when you walk through and people can walk around the counter, they can shop, they can order coffee, get flowers, and really sit down and enjoy the space. And everybody loved it. It just was a great hit and I was really happy to see it. But it had like these deep walnutty tones mixed with like bright pinks and deeper burgundy tones as well. And it was really interesting to see like this feminine vibe fused with like more masculine tones. And their brand was really fun as well, so it allowed for that. And there's just so much happening in the space that it's just like you always go and you always see something new. And that's kind of the exciting part about it. And then we finished that, I would say maybe a few years ago, and now we are approached for their second location, or their third location, second that we are doing, but they wanted a little bit different, which got us even a bit more excited. Obviously each space is different. With this space, it's still in a large building, so it's in an underground path, and it's a different footprint. It's a little bit smaller, but it still needs to function the same way. It still needs to have the same equipment. So it's just like having to fuse different things together is always an interesting thing to look at and sometimes challenging. And let me tell you what type of challenges we face as interior designers. In this world, I would say, there's always something coming up. The biggest challenge that we always get is typically challenges with the layout, that people have spaces that are much smaller than they actually need. And they usually have like lots of equipment and things that simply don't fit in the space. So that's our biggest challenge, that we have to find a way to either fit it or remove some of the equipment, which people don't want to do. The second challenge that we have is sometimes we go to a space and we don't have base building drawings, we don't have any information about the existing space, and we have to kind of investigate and act as just explorers in the space to find ways or areas that, oh, there's a power here, there's plumbing, there's whatever they may be. And it's really hard because you just don't know who built what before, and we have to create these plans from scratch. And then the third challenge is permitting and dealing with the city, dealing with landlords, going out and talking to them and making sure that we get these drawings approved in order for the construction to be successful. And then the last one is always the budget. The budget is always, it never gets met. There's always budgetary issues that come up. Things get more expensive as the project progresses. Things get discontinued and we have to find other areas. And the budget is always the pain point, I would say, for everybody, like as a designer, for clients, for the contractor. And it's just like finding ways to get creative, and meeting that budget is always a challenge, I would say, when you don't know what's gonna come up in your face. So you're probably wondering what the challenge is for this current space. Like, I'm just giving you examples of typical challenges. I would say we had all of the above. All of the above were our challenges. Everything was moving well. Like, we had this vision, we had this idea, and then we went to site and saw the space, and we were a little bit shocked, not gonna lie, because it's very long and narrow. It doesn't have drains in specific areas. It's missing a lot of things that they needed for them to operate their equipment. And I just came back and sat in the office and I said, oh my God, I don't know if we can pull this together. It's going to be a tough one. So we just started pulling out our papers and pens and started sketching things out. I pulled the whole team to just try to figure out a solution and a good layout that really flows. And then we came across one, but then we had code challenges because we couldn't meet clearances, so we had to adjust it. So there was always constantly like this push and pull that we had to play with. And then getting a permit from the city and getting the landlord approvals done took so long. I think maybe it took us 4 or 5 months to just get that process moving. I was on the phone with the city every single day, just being like, where's our permit? Where's our drawings? We need to get this moving. But we managed to get through it. So now it's the fun part. Now it's just seeing the vision come to life. And that's the most exciting part of it all. Part of being an interior designer is just like dealing with problems left and right. And things always come up that you don't expect. And I kind of just got used to dealing with them as they come. You know what happened to me the other day? I kept calling the city for the permits, and the guy that was on the phone, he told me, stop calling. What do you want from me? Stop calling me. And I was just like, okay, give us our permit. Like, I'll stop calling you. Yeah, before I dive into the specifics of each challenge and like how we solved each one and what each entailed, usually what we do in a project is we start with like the concept and the schematic plans, where we just lay out the space and we figure out where do we want things to go and what do we want things to be next. So if you want, let's say for example, an oven to be next to a sink, or I'm just giving theoretical examples of things to be next to each other. So the adjacencies, we call it the adjacencies, we figure that out in the initial stages and make sure that we can actually have a moving flow, an optimized layout that actually functions. And then we layer on top like the concepts, which is the fun stuff, the vibe of the space, how everything feels and looks, colors, materials, palettes, lighting, tile, whatever that may be, we usually put that in the initial stage. So we actually ended up pulling different finishes and materials. So we did, so there's one tile that we really loved that we used in their previous location that we had to make sure we can use for this one. So we called the supplier and they told us that it's going to be hard to get. So we kind of pre-planned for this and told the contractor, like, heads up, you need to order this now, we need it now. So we managed to get it in the end, but it took, I would say, maybe 12 weeks just to get this tile. But I'm happy we got it and I'm happy it's there because it will make a big difference in the space. Like, it's a signature look for them. So yeah, and what I would say is we don't just go to Home Depot and source things. We don't just go online and source things. We really look at very specific specs, and especially that this is a commercial space, it has to have the functionality in place. Like if someone goes in with and spills coffee, or they spill something on the floor or on the seats, like it has to be cleanable. You can't have stains on it. So all these specific materials were chosen with intention, and there was thought put behind it, so it comes to life. During the schematic design process, we actually split the space into 2 zones, I would say. You don't see them as 2 separate zones, they're like interwoven in a way, but they are 2 split zones or 2 split areas. So we have the floral bar to the right-hand side with some seating around it so that the clients can host workshops after hours or just prepare the flower arrangements and bouquets, because that gets messy. They're cutting stems, things are flying, they have ribbons, they have paper. So we wanted to separate that from the food area and the coffee area so that there's not, you don't want a stem in your coffee at the end of the day. So we split it into 2 separate zones. And we have a little seating nook to the very left-hand side, just so that people can sit and enjoy and experience the space. Even though it's small, it's not made to have a sit down. and we brought the counters all the way to the front. So that way we're closer to the lease line, we can optimize the actual square footage in the space, and then people can enter an order and then leave because it's in the path and it's really busy in there. So we just had to think of all this stuff that really impacts how a space functions. Fast forward to now, we went to site yesterday to check on the progress and see, like, it's still in initial stages of construction, like the construction just started, so it's not developed fully yet, but we went to site to see the progress and make sure that everything is where it's intended to be. Hey Michael, how are you?
Hi Jude, welcome to
Nice to see you. How's it going?
Very well.
Good,
How are you today?
I want to see what has been done here and review kind of like the progress on site.
For sure.
So
I'd love to share everything, and as you see, it's a big wide open space now. Before it was very congested. We had a lot of bulkhead here, we had a lot of things going on. Cleaned it up, we brought it back to vanilla shell, and now we're executing all the mechanical, plumbing, and electrical work.
So I noticed that the walls are still open, so I think you're prepping for the millwork, right?
Yes, absolutely. We're finishing all the drywall. It's gonna be a level 3 finish. We're gonna do a really beautiful paint job, and we're gonna bring in all the millwork.
Oh, and I know the coffee machine is going here. That looks bigger than the original one. Has that changed?
So as per spec, we've made sure to follow all the drawings, inch by inch, so everything's been accounted for.
Great.
So when we do the installation, everything's going to fit very nicely within our parameter, and we shouldn't have any issues as well.
Okay.
So there's a great deal of attention to our millwork drawings.
Amazing.
So when the millwork team received it, they were really keen on all the details to make sure it's perfect. So when we do install it, everything fits within our drawings, plus our schedule, mechanical work, and on top of that, all the specs for all the equipment.
Okay, so are the fridges going to fit through this opening, do you think?
Now it will. At one point,
one
point, our doorway was just a little too small by 1.5 inches. And in order for us to have all the equipment delivered in, we had to remove the whole entire thing and rebuild a new doorway. So then everything's gonna be really nicely positioned in the future without having any kind of like touching any walls or the ceilings.
Nice. This is crazy.
So for our lighting situation, originally on the drawings, they were spec'd out to have different sections to be lit. But then going through a walkthrough with our clients, he had mentioned that he wanted different sections to be kind of dimmable, plus create a different ambiance.
Yeah, that's great. Dimmable is what we wanted, and this is gonna be perfect. Yeah, I think this looks great because the flow was really important for us to implement in drawings. So now I see that all the M&E stuff is back here, and I know like the execution part is really important because otherwise like the plan means nothing without the execution. So I see all the work that has gone into this and to follow the flow that we had planned for. So in the next few weeks, they're going to be like really wrapping it up and just bringing everything tightened up so that it's actually ready to open, because we have a timeline, we have a deadline that we need to be open by early spring. So we're approaching that really soon, and it has to be ready to go so that it can operate and we can actually visit it and see, maybe experience the space too and sit in it and assess it. But usually after a project is complete, I like to go and see what did we do good, what did we do, what can we improve on, and where are areas that we kind of missed the mark on maybe, or the contractor didn't follow our drawings, or whatever that may be. I like to go and take notes and see these things because it really helps us improve and continuing our mission to ensure that every design we do is really thought out and really planned well as well. Knowing that this project is still incomplete and still in progress and has a few more weeks to go, I think you're just gonna have to stay tuned. But for now, I need to go and call the guy at the city.